So the plane landed, I went through immigration, walked through the airport, and found the bus to the city. Here's a map of where we are. We're at the airport now, and we're going all the way up to Reykjavik City. The bus slowly left the airport at 5:20 a.m. One of the first things I noticed were the European-style cars and roads that we were driving on. It was still pitch black, and it would be for another 4 to 5 hours, as the Icelandic sunrise in January does not start until 10 a.m. We passed by warehouses and industrial-type buildings, and I could see the lights of the town that sits right next to the airport. That town is called Keflavik. This is why the airport is called Keflavik Airport. We then traveled through the darkness on Route 41, also known as the Reykjanesbraut, until we got to a built-up area. Suburban Reykjavik reminds me a lot of the United States, pretty big and mostly large single-family homes with large roads. I also saw a few people waiting at bus stops for the local Strætó bus service. 45 minutes after leaving the airport, we finally made it to the BSC bus terminal in the city of Reykjavik. They had buses that would take you directly to your accommodations, but that would have been an extra $10, and I didn't need to spend that money, so I opted to walk for 20 minutes to my hostel. It was super quiet, and I hope my loud carry-on running against the tile-like sidewalk did not wake anybody up. There was basically no one walking out on the streets at this time in the morning. I think I saw 1 or 2 other people on the walk. As I got close to central Reykjavik, I noticed how much narrower the roads got. I knew I was close. I finally made it to the hostel and got settled.
3 days later.
I exited the hotel. Yes, I did switch accommodations, more on that in a future video. And I started the 21-minute walk to the BSC bus terminal. Funny how they were both about 20 minutes. I walked through different neighborhoods this time, and this time I was in the morning light at around 10:30 a.m. I purchased a physical ticket at the BSC bus center from the ticket agent. I then had one of my most European experiences of the entire trip. To use the restroom at the bus terminal, you had to swipe your card and go through a New York City subway-style turnstile. So I paid because I didn't know the next time I'd be able to use the restroom. About 10 minutes later, the bus was called, and those of us going to the airport walked out of the building and got on the bus. When the bus driver took my ticket, he said "tak," which is thank you in Icelandic. I guess I passed as a native Icelander. That's pretty cool. The ride to the airport was much more interesting, as it was the first clear day in the country. What terrible timing. Here you can see a multi-use pathway, which are pretty common in Iceland. And here you can see a Strætó, which is the local bus name, bus lane. And I can attest that this area does get a lot of traffic during rush hour. Anyway, once we left the city, the landscapes looked unlike anything I've ever seen before. Grass and trees? What are those? Like, actually. We could see the hills and mountains of the Reykjanesfolkvangur Nature Preserve, and they were stunning. It was at this moment that I realized I should have done something nature-related one of the days that I was in Iceland. Because Iceland is not somewhere you go for the city. It's basically one big national or international park. We traveled on Route 41, also known as the Reykjanesbraut, the main road between Reykjavik and the international airport. Anyway, 45 minutes later, we made it to the airport, and I got off the bus and entered the departures area. There are 2 bus services from the Keflavik Airport to Reykjavik City. The first, more expensive one, but more convenient, is called Flybys. You can book tickets online or in person, and you also have the option to be taken directly to your accommodation from the bus terminal, or if you're going to the airport, then you can be picked up from your accommodation, taken to the BSC bus terminal, and then transported to a bus to the airport. A one-way ticket from the airport to BSC bus terminal is $30, and the direct service to your accommodation is an extra $10. The buses run every hour to the airport, and they run buses to the city after every flight that lands at the airport. The buses they used for the service were really nice Mercedes coach buses that I believe were diesel, but were very quiet and much more quiet than what I'm used to here in the United States. This is the option that most normal people and even some transit people will use because it's the most convenient and is the quickest ride. Your other option is Strætó Bus 55. Strætó is Iceland's public transit provider. Strætó literally means bus in Icelandic.
Strætó.
Bus 55 runs a limited schedule that works for some flights but not all. The fare is 2,400 Icelandic krona, which comes out to $18 United States. That's expensive for a bus ride, but it is cheaper than taking the Flybys. Strætó lets you use contactless payments on local buses in the Reykjavik area, so paying for the bus should not be an issue. Just let your card provider know that you're traveling abroad and make sure that it's MasterCard or Visa. I didn't have any issues paying for the Strætó buses during my trip, more on local transit in a future video. The Strætó bus from the airport does take longer than the Flybys, as it makes local stops and serves the airport town of Keflavik. Also, not all Strætó 55 trips end at BSE bus terminal. Some terminate in Fjörður, where you can take Strætó Route 1 to central Reykjavik. Keep in mind that the Strætó bus stop is located in the middle of nowhere in the parking lot of the Reykjavik airport, but it is findable on Google Maps. Can you tell I really like saying that word Strætó? It's a fun word. Got a funny angle today. So those are the two ways to get from Keflavik Airport to Reykjavik City. Thank you for watching this quick video. I'll have a video on the local buses and stuff in Reykjavik at some point, and have a good day.